everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Stassi. Thank you so much for being here today. I have the amazing Kevin the Builder here today. So thank you so much for being here today.
Of course. Love you.
Oh my God. I love you too. We just had like the best 20-minute conversation about life. And I'm so happy to know that you are a Hufflepuff.
I am totes a Hufflepuff here.
I love that. I feel like the generation below us doesn't care about Harry Potter. And I don't know if I can trust. I know, I'm like, but why? It's so important. And they're like, yeah, but no, it's all TikTok now.
They just don't know what's good for them anymore. So
right. Okay. I gotta tell you the wildest story. So first house party back last night. And I'm usually the youngest person in the room.
Mm-hmm. That used to be me until I hit 30 and then things changed.
I'm going to be 29 this year. And I keep forgetting I'm going to be 29 this year because I usually like to age myself up a year because if I act older, I am older.
Yeah.
So I keep thinking, am I 29 going on 30? Am I 28 going on 29? I can't remember. But the other day I was like, you're going to be 29 in August. And I'm like, it's my last year of my 20s. Yep. Let's end this off on a bang. I got to do something awesome because the top of your 20s always sucks because you're in college, university, you're poor because you're in college and university, or you're working a job and you're cashier, customer service person. My beginning 20s sucked really hard. I would say my middle 20s got really good. And as I keep aging, it keeps getting better. Did you find that way with your 20s?
Early 20s were great.
Okay.
And then I started my career started right after college. So it was there was no buffer zone between going from work to having a real job, my adult job kind of a thing. So I wish there was that gap year somewhere in there, that people do that whole year traveling through Europe or something like that. But yeah, I didn't have that.
No, I didn't have that. I went to college. I had just turned 18.
Yeah.
And I was a graphic designer and then I did social media marketing. And then I did that for 2 years because I did the fast pass. So basically I went to school every day for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then the last year I did a part-time of that to finish it off. And then I switched to culinary and then I did that for 5 years. And then I don't work in the chef field because I like money and I like to go home at 5 o'clock.
I was going to say the hours probably really are horrible.
Yeah. So it's a 15-hour day and you make 5 cents more than minimum wage. Yeah. No, I did that all throughout school and I'm like, no, I'm good. And then I got a job in marketing, which is the easiest you can possibly do. Cause all you have to do is just say really I don't know, bougie words to old white men and they don't know what you're saying. And then they're like, you're so smart. And I'm like, yes. Yes. 100%. Yes. And then I got this job I'm in now. I've had it for about 3 years and I want to move on, but I'm just at this point where we're trying for kids. So it's just a little awkward. It's really fun to be a woman when, especially in childbearing age. So you actually really get looked over for new jobs because they're like, oh, well, you're going to take a mat leave. It sucks. So I'm stuck. It's horrible. It's horrible. I'm stuck where I am. Anyways. So last night, youngest person in the room, everyone is between 38 and 45. And I love those persons. Nobody was on their phone. It threw me for a loop because anytime I'm with anybody, maybe my age or just a little bit younger, everyone's on their phones and vaping. And last night it was just I struck up this lovely conversation with this gentleman and we were just talking about life and, trying for a family and the expectations and, just take it slow and enjoy it. And I was sitting there, I was like, this is actually stimulating conversation. The last time I was at a house party, there were 19-year-olds and all I kept hearing was, yo, come check this out. It's going to be on TikTok. And I just kept turning. I'm like,
But that's the difference in age group for parties now too. You're entering this more mature, party aspect versus than when it was back in college,
Right? Yeah. We're having these dinner parties and we're talking about interest rates on mortgages.
Yep. Refinancing a house. What?
Yeah. I think the best thing is seeing your college friends who would drink wine out of a sock that are now in business attire drinking the bougiest wine you could possibly.
Negronis.
Oh yeah, exactly. And they're just like, we're civilized now. Yeah, and I'm like, I saw you like try to combine wine and Katie and try to make bougie, like alcoholic macaroni.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like it's funny. I think the best one is, and I promise we'll get started with this interview, is like when people for wedding registries put like the most like outrageous stuff on their wedding registry. Right? I'm sorry. You need a $1,000 tea set.
Yeah.
You go to Tim Hortons every day and get steep tea. Are you not going to do that and just use this bougie like China like tea set? Like what? What?
Housewarming parties are the same way. They're registries.
Yeah. Or baby registries.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Not my coworkers. She's sweet baby angel. Like everything on her registry is $25 or less, which I respect that immensely.
Totally.
But my high school friend, I can't go. So she's just like, well, send me a present. Okay.
Anything under like $200.
I wish $200 was the price mark. Everything. It's like these like Burberry onesies and like these like very excited. She wants a Louis Vuitton diaper bag. I'm like, girl.
On a registry?
Yeah. I'm like, girl,
Lord.
You work at like Walmart. Like, yeah. I know you married rich, but like you're a cashier. Like, what? People. Anyways, You're a great person.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And I promise that was the only segue we will have with this.
Yeah, Kevin,
yeah, I know. I had my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Kevin, I definitely want to hear your Sims history and a little bit about yourself.
So I've been playing The Sims since the beginning, probably like everybody else, my age. So I am 32, going on 33 this year. And I remember like the first time I played The Sims was at a friend's house in like 6th grade. Mm-hmm. And we were just like, he was showing me like how to play it. And I was like, what is this game? Like I hadn't really played computer games at that point. I was more like on consoles with my brother and my sister. So I'm like one of 3. I'm the baby of 3. So my sister's 10 years older than me and my brother is 8 years older than me. So like there's this like, I was this like surprise, so like I had these older siblings that were constantly like taking care of me. And, I remember playing like Tomb Raider and then like anything on like Sega Genesis, PlayStation, like that kind of stuff early on. And, when my friend showed me The Sims on computer, I was like, this is pretty cool. Like you basically build these like ridiculous homes. You create these Sims that all look the same. And I think, what started on early with becoming like a builder in the game, right, mm-hmm. was that I was constantly, because I remember like you could do the astrology signs like on the first Sims, or maybe that was Sims 2, somewhere in there. But like I would always make my Sims look the same because I didn't want to like spend time to like create them, And so I would then go into building and like basically build this gaudy mansion that had the most expensive of everything in it, And then my whole town and world would constantly have the exact same Sims like walking around and coming over to visit me because there weren't like those customizations early on in the games. But that was like early on. And then finally, I remember in high school was when I was playing Sims 3, probably more like religiously than anything. And I loved the open world aspect of it. I loved that you could manipulate the world. Like there was the Creator world aspect of it where you could put lots like wherever you could, to some restriction, but like basically you could build neighborhoods and like put more lots on the roads and stuff like that. So I do remember doing that. But then again, at that time I'm in high school, I'm doing a lot of like fine art stuff through school. And I didn't really think that there was like a career path of like going towards architecture or design for me at that time. Mm-hmm. So I was actually going to go to school for photojournalism. Like I was doing a lot of photography, yearbook, like that kind of stuff in high school. And then finally, like last minute, like right before I was about to start my bachelor's, I was like, you know what, there's this program, interior design. I'm moving to Denver and I'm going to school out there and I'm going to go there for interior design. And It was great. It was fun. I did a year there, and then I transferred to a school in Chicago here and continued my bachelor's. And they did an accelerated program too, where it was like year round. So I was able to get my bachelor's in 3 years for interior design, so BFA. And then I got hired on by the firm that I was interning with at the time. And then, maybe 6 years ago, I moved to another firm. And then during COVID was when Sims 4 really like popped for me. And so I was like, you know what, let's take these real life experiences and like building aspects and like put them into the game, Mm-hmm. And I think, I've been having a lot of fun doing it where like I'll be working on like a real life project where we have like these wine cellar cubes, like framed out with black metal and glass and everything. And then like I'll try and portray that with Moschino windows and the Sims and then like the wine racks and stuff like that. So it's like been a lot of like, how do I do this from real life in the Sims? So that's kind of Sims 2. I don't think I played much of Sims 2. At least it's just like in the back of my head somewhere. But I think I went 1, 3, started 4 at some point and was like, this is horrible, stopped, and then picked it back up during COVID. So
Kevin, that is amazing. There's a lot to unpack there.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I love that. There's a ton of Simmers that are also interior decorators. Mm-hmm. Another one is the Disney Sims. She does a lot of cast, but she does that. And she told me, and I was like, do you think it gives you a better eye for when you're in the Sims where you're able to create stuff more realistically because that is your job?
Probably.
I would say so. Okay. What is the coolest interior design project you've ever done?
In real life?
In real life.
Okay. About 2 years ago, I finished a home. So in the Chicago area, there is this like vacation neighborhood that's like in southern Wisconsin called Lake Geneva. And basically back when the Chicago fire happened, like years and years and years ago, I don't know if you're familiar with Chicago history at all, but
Chicago is my favorite city. I know lots about Chicago.
Hands down, it is seriously the best third coast out there. I mean, it is so good. It is awesome. So good.
I actually have Chicago questions for you after that I was saving for the end. No, I love Chicago. I actually got proposed to at the Bean.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I know.
That's absolutely amazing.
I've been to Chicago, I want to say 12 times.
Well, when you come back, you gotta hit me up.
I will hit you up. Me and my girlfriend, that's all we talk about is like, we'll literally text each other. Like we miss Chicago, but we'll save Chicago for that. Anyways, yes.
So when the Chicago fire happened, a lot of these rich millionaires in Chicago had property up on this lake, which is about like 2.5 hours outside of Chicago. And that town became like really developed with like old homes and everything like that up there. So I worked on a lake house up there that was sort of this more transitional in design. So it's like that bridge between traditional design and contemporary. And there is so many neat elements from like this, their kitchen has this Mondrian art inspired refrigerator wall that has like all this black steel and like white resin panel cabinet fronts. And they have what they call a bridge where like it's a 2-story space, but up in the rafters, you can kind of imagine like the framing of like these rafters going down in triangles. Yep. There's like a little bridge that connects one wing to the other wing. And it's all these exposed timbers and has these like black metal collar ties and brackets and everything. And it's such a very cool house. And the fact that it's like a vacation home for these people is just like, it is this like breakaway from city living for them. So
that is incredible because it's a literal escape from like suburbia where it's like, wow, it's the same house over and over and over.
Exactly.
I think that's what I love about interior design. You can literally do anything. And no matter what you do, and you have this, like you have a concept and you're able to just make it real. And I think that's just something I love, even with Sims building, is you have this idea in your mind and Sims allows you to create it.
Yep.
Yes. But no, Kevin, that is awesome. OG sim builder. Oh my God. OMG. I am an OG sim builder. I started playing in 2003. Yeah. I actually found the last time I was home, my old Sims notebooks.
Did you really?
I did. My mom keeps everything. She has my project I did about puffins from grade 1. And she's like, she has it prized. Like, it's like, I want to know about prize. Mm-hmm. Like, she has everything. So I was cleaning through my stuff because all she keeps saying to me, she's like, you need to clean out the basement. I'm like, no, you need to clean out the basement because I've already said these are projects when I was a kid. I don't care.
Yeah.
So I was like, she's like, I've cleaned out the old desk. Just look at everything. And I found all of my old notebooks because I wanted to, like, I would map out like what I was going to build.
Yeah.
And literally what rooms. And like, that's what me and my childhood best friend Casey would do on Saturday nights because we had no life. And my mother would ship me off to her house almost every weekend. And that's all I did. I was like, like, I'm pretty sure Casey's mom, I was just like their adopted daughter.
Yeah.
Like, I was just always there. But Casey got me into The Sims because her dad worked in IT. Mm-hmm. She had a computer in her room.
Yeah. Oh.
Which was like unheard of in like 2003. So we used to, and she lived 5 houses down from our public school, and her mom was a stay-at-home mom. So she was allowed to go home for lunch because her mom would walk her to and from. And I went. Casey's mom would like literally feed me grilled cheese, carrot sticks, and chocolate milk like every day.
Yeah.
And then we'd have who gives a small child an hour and a half lunch?
A long lunch.
It's a long lunch.
I mean, even an hour is long.
I agree. An hour is definitely long. But yeah, like an hour and a half lunch. And we would sit and play The Sims, like, because we had like every class together. So like literally instead of like talking about, math and English, because who needs those things? Yeah, we would talk about like, okay, so like at lunch, we're going to build this house and we're going to do like this. I played a lot of Sims 1 and I played a lot of Sims 2. I didn't play any of Sims 3. Best to my knowledge, I maybe played it like 5 or 10 times. Mm-hmm. I think at first I interchanged Sims 3 and Sims 4 together. Yeah. I know that sounds weird, but I was thinking about it the other day. So when we got this house, what we did is we built it in The Sims and we were able to place the furniture that we already had and we could scale it out, which is so cool to think about it. Because at this time I wasn't playing The Sims like I am now. This was just something that I was like, oh my God, remember that game, The Sims, that like we were a kid? Yeah. We're like, why don't we do that? And we did. And I didn't realize it until like, I want to say like last week that it's Sims 3 I built it, not Sims 4, because I built my fiance and myself in it just so we can like have fun and live and play in this house that we just have. And I put body hair on him.
Yeah.
And I didn't like put 2 and 2 together. And I was making a sim.
That's CC.
Right? I was making a Sims in the Rose Chronicles. I was like, where the fuck's the body hair?
Yeah.
Where the fuck's the body? What? I'm like, oh my God. I played Sims 3 when I did that. Cause I was like, where's the Sims 4 body hair? What would we do before Google? They're like, there is no, I'm like, oh shit. I guess I can't say I did play Sims 3. Yeah. I just confused it with Sims 4. But I think I would like to go back and play Sims 3, not on my mother, like my computer that's like for mom answering emails.
Yeah.
Like I only have like 15 gig left on this on a good day. I have to like literally take these interviews off like every time I do
quickly.
Them. Yeah. Pretty quickly because my computer won't open. But what is your favorite rendition of The Sims?
Like pack wise? Is that what you're thinking?
It could be game version. It could be pack because, like there's like 3 different types of university. Like it's whatever you want.
I mean, I love the building in Sims 4, but I do love like Sims 3 aspects. So it's like, I did enjoy that open world thing. And I think some people had trouble with like loading and stuff like that. Mm. I never had like too much of a lag on that, or at least not that I was like paying attention at the time, but I do enjoy the building in Sims 4. I wish the like the creative sim and like the build objects had more customizations to them where like you could get that same color like across the objects, because Sims 3 had that color wheel, Mm-hmm. So like you could make that sweater like the same blue as the pants, or like you can make that armoire the same color as the end tables. Like you had that capability, or the wallpapers too. Like I vividly remember this now, that there was this like damask wallpaper in Sims 3 that you could like make the print one color in the background like another color. And so, you know, it's like things like that. Like I enjoy that, but you know, I miss it.
I see, I can't miss what I don't have because I don't remember doing stuff like that. But like, I wish we had the capability in the Sims 4. Like, to me, the Sims 4 is very pretty. Mm-hmm. It's very, you know, like everything that has like backgrounds and all this stuff. It's gotten obviously better with age.
Yeah. Sure.
But it's missing all this stuff, and like they have the ability to do it. They've done it before. That's why everyone just keeps screaming for these, like, oh, like I want this, I want this, I want this. I don't know. Like, do you think it's going to come back in Sims 5? Because it's not coming to Sims 4. If they would, if they could,
I don't think because I think yesterday they announced that Sims 5 is coming out like next year. So it's, you know, there's no reason for them to do it at this point. You know, like there's a year left. But like my husband, he plays Assassin's Creed like crazy. And that is like a very open world concept game. But why can a PlayStation handle that concept, but yet, you know, Sims 4 doesn't? Or, you know, the way that, do you play Animal Crossing at all or anything like that?
I have, but I have not put any of the newer ones.
Okay. So there is an aspect that allows you to allow friends to come visit your island, right?
Yeah.
So like, I could see that play happening where like you have your friends and you could invite them over to your lot and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't think there was like a hot second for like a Sims Online too, like, you know, back in the day. And I feel like I was too young for that when that came out. And it was like a bunch of like creepy people who like were like abusing it, you know? Oh, yeah. And so I feel like they need to figure out that way of like controlling open world online play, you know, with this next Sims 5. So
I totally agree. Now, Kevin, I'm going to be really honest with you. Yeah. I don't want it to ever be a multiplayer game. Yeah. That's just me personally. Sure. The Sims to me is my escape.
Yeah.
And that's for me to just be me. It takes me 20 minutes to load when I go between set to set for Rose Chronicles. I couldn't even imagine if I had to have other people or just it not showing up right. Because my problem is like the Sims team has like, they have the ability to actually pull something off. And then at the same time, they don't. I couldn't even imagine the glitches and everything that come with trying to like get your friends there. And I understand the social aspect behind it for maybe some people who that's how they can like, how they have friends, and I completely accept that. But for my personal gameplay, I would turn it off.
Yeah. I mean, my gameplay is very slim, you know, like I usually do building. Like I'd say my building is like 75% of it. And then I do like I'm stream on Twitch too. And there is a community gameplay that we do where people can upload themselves, and then I do the Great Simish Bake Off too. So like basically it's like this whole baking competition, but we build the estates and mansions of the houses that, you know, are around the Great British Bake Off. And then people are allowed to like play that way through the stream and everything. But that's about as much gameplay as I actually get into.
Right? Like, I don't want gameplay. Like anytime I have any time of gameplay on, like someone's always dying. So, like one of my townies is like always just like, and then like everyone's sad. I'm like, God, this is a happy scene. Yeah. Everyone's sad. Anyways, talking about EA's releases. So EA, the Q1 has just wrapped up. It would have wrapped up 2 days ago. What do you think is in store for Q2, Q3, and Q4?
I have no idea. Like, I feel like it's always all over the place. You know, it's like, you know, last year they did the Pride and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, which was great. Yes. And I think I like seeing that like connection to real life a lot, you know, like the menswear kit thing, like that was cool because it was obviously connected to an actual fashion brand and stuff like that. But I'd like to see more of that sort of like correlation, maybe licensing or something like that, where it doesn't look cheap though. Like I don't want it to look bad.
I agree. Like So what a lot of people are hoping for are different packs with different ethnicities. Everyone I've spoken to has asked for an African pack. I think that African, Indian have different representation for China, instead of it being like Japan, which was the Snowy Escape pack.
Snowy Escape one.
What different ethnic world would you like to see in The Sims moving forward?
Moroccan, Middle Eastern, that's all stuff that culturally we, as like a Western society, right? We don't see that, and not in gameplay too much. And it not only from like an architecture standpoint, but like culturally too, like I want to see, and create a sim caftans for like men. And like, I want to see, new roofing shapes and adornments and, and building. And, I just feel like we're so like Western civilized that like, we don't see that side of, society.
Oh my God. I totally agree. I stepped out and said, I'm like, it's really Western based and I'd love to see different cultures. I got slammed for saying that. They're like, how dare you shit on your culture?
I mean, the Oasis kit was like a toe in the pool, like it was like almost there.
I just really feel like Sims is playing it safe. Like they keep releasing these kits and I'd love to see the different ethnicities, but that's like, they're like, okay, so we're doing it. And that's great. I would love them to take the next step in making worlds for all these and playing it not as safe. Everyone thinks the next expansion pack is probably going to be Generations.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has talked about it. It must be somewhat form of true. I hope so. I do hope that we will see disabilities in there and other forms of bringing it more real.
Yeah.
Instead of it, like everybody just looks, the same. And they I want to see missing appendages and missing limbs.
Yeah.
People have those struggles and if they choose to make themselves the Sims with those, if they have them, great. I just want to show those representations that no matter who you are or what you look like, that you're accepted in this community. And this community is very based on Western culture.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of The Sims, is being able to create yourself and the world around you. And it's really hard to do if you're not in North America.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my hope for The
Absolutely.
Sims. And I really do hope that even in Sims 5, we'll definitely see more cultures and different types of hair types. Like instead of just having like white girl blonde hair, like I want to see appropriate hair. And the only way that's going to happen is if Sims allows these communities into the room where it happens.
Absolutely.
So they can have those discussions. And something that I'm excited to see that they've now started inviting more CC creators. Now, what I'm concerned about is EA is just going to take credit for everything. Yeah. And that's the thing I'm concerned of. Like these CC creators make the game. The community makes the game. EA may physically make the game, but they don't make the game. They're a business, they're a corporation. It's us as a community that makes this game. I just don't want to see them shit on the community, because if they did that, they're going to lose the community of what they built. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope for Sims 5 that they have everything figured out. I would love them to say in a couple years from now and have a press conference and say, listen, our team was divided in half about 5 years ago. And most of our team was dedicated to Sims 5. That's why all these Sims 4 packs have been broken, unfinished, because we were so focused on Sims 5. We apologize for this. We would like to reward you for your dedication to us by X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Yeah. Where to me, all these unfinished packs, we just got a patch update for Wedding Story that came out in February. I know. They released it on April Fool's Day.
Does it still work? Does it work?
It does work. Apparently, I haven't played it. I don't do any gameplay, but from everybody else, it's it's somewhat fixed.
It's somewhat fixed.
Now that instead of, you die in your seats because you can't leave, now they can somewhat walk around, right? But they're still stuck there. I don't know if you can cut the cake and that's working, or walking down the aisle. Everything they promised. At what point, and I got to ask you this, at what point as a Sims player are you is enough? And I don't want to buy any more packs. I don't want to do any more and support this because what you're giving me is broken.
I just feel like when it comes to gameplay, like why move on to the next thing if you still have something that's broken, and then you just kind of like dig that hole deeper in a way. So like then you have that other thing that's broken, plus the thing that you were just working on that you're trying to fix is also broken. So it's like, I feel like instead of trying to push out and like grabbing for all this money right now, just focus on what you have and make it better with, updates or like little in-game things, so that it's not necessarily having to buy a whole new kit or having to buy a whole new pack, kind of a thing. I don't know. I don't like that aspect of like, moving on to the next thing just because you have a deadline and you have to make money kind of a thing. Like, you're a big company. You should be able to fix these little things. And then, it's almost as bad as like if you were to, create these objects and you place it and like the object doesn't work, so like why, nobody's going to want to then invest in that, for building or, whatnot. I don't know. I just think they need to slow it down maybe a little bit.
I agree. The problem is they're rushing out these kits.
Yeah.
Because kits are easy, right? It's all debug stuff and they're just rescanning it and reshading it. And they're throwing an $8 price tag on it and we're buying it.
Yeah.
And it's for console players, to be honest with you. That's what kits are for, because they can't have CC.
They can't have CC. Yeah.
I want a finished stuff pack. I want a finished game pack. Yeah. I don't care if they never have another expansion in their life, to be honest with you. I think Country Living was a great love letter to the fans. We've listened to you. We want this. I'm fine with that. But like, I know the Sims team has stepped out and this was like, what, a year ago. So they still have 3 to 4 more years of Sims 4 content. I don't know if I want it if it's broken, because all we're going to sit and talk about like how broken it is. And then they're not going to apologize. And then they're going to put out game patches. And then everybody has amnesia and forgets that these game packs are broken and just continue to buy it. And EA doesn't care because they're just laughing. Because I got into a little heated debate about because I bought My Wedding Story like the day it was released after everything was sorted out with Russia.
Yeah. And
they're like, how dare you buy this? It's not finished. And I said, I bought it for the wedding cakes. I didn't buy it for any of the gameplay. Yeah. I didn't do that. And I understand you may be upset, but EA didn't hold a gun to my head and said, you must buy this. I willingly chose to do that, knowing it was broken. That's where EA stands at. Well, you bought it.
Yeah.
Like, you read it wasn't worth it. You still bought. That's on you. And that's a marketing 101. Yeah. Right. And I will say the marketing team at EA is phenomenal.
Is pretty good.
Because they show us what we want. Like, I would say like it's almost at Fire Festival levels of showing us what we want.
Yeah.
And then it's not what we expected, because like, I remember watching the trailer and I was like, holy shit, I want this. Like, look, because my dream is to have a wedding cake bakery. I saw it and I was like, oh my God. And I saw the Sims community with like these hundreds of wedding cakes. And I was like, oh my God, this is everything I've ever wanted and more. Like, where do I sign? This is perfect. And then it's all broken. And I was more mad about the wedding cakes that you actually have to physically make every single one you want. You can't just go to the bug and grab the shape or color you want. It doesn't work like that. And I was like, and they only last for 9 hours and you can't upload it to the gallery and bring it down because they're rotten.
They'll be rotten. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, that ruined. I was more mad at that.
It broke my dreams.
It broke you ruined everything. But that's the whole point. I've constantly said EA is a business.
Well, it is. Yeah.
It's a business. It's out there to make money.
When that wedding pack was announced, was released, was sort of like re-released in a way that got so much news, and like, it was all over Twitter. It was everywhere. And like, people were like angry about it. And, I feel bad for the gurus because they're the upfront people and they're the ones that were taking a ton of flack for it,
Yes.
And, I just, why, if it's broken, fix it, just simple as that.
Push the release back.
Yes.
Because like, so it came to my attention. So the Harry Potter game, Harry Potter Legacy is coming out this year. I've never been so excited for a console game. I'm not a console game player. I have ADHD, so I just mash buttons and hope for the best. Yeah. But this game, I'm really excited about. This game has been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back.
Yeah.
But because it wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't meet their deadlines. It's no different
Rightfully
than a movie
though.
or a TV show. Yeah, because now I know when it comes out, it's going to be finished and it's going to be worth the $80 price tag that comes with these. And the thing is these kits are in expansion packs are expensive. Like in Canada, an expansion pack is $60.
Yeah.
That is a week's worth of food in my house.
That's crazy.
That's a lot. Crazy. It's a lot of money, right? So like you got to be picky and choosy. Like EA, no matter what they do, they're not demographing to me and you. Mm-hmm. Like they're going for like daddy buys me everything, and they'll just
here
sell it out.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's missing a whole bit. Like I'm concerned that like I may not be able to play my favorite game because my computer won't be able to handle it. Mm-hmm. And having a $4,000 gaming computer is an extreme luxury.
It is very much a luxury.
And that not everybody can have, right?
No.
Right. Anyways.
And I feel like a lot of these packs right now are they're just trying to grab for money right now. And it's too quick, just like we were saying, like it's just, they're trying to turn over profit way too quick on these things. So.
Oh gosh, I know. I totally agree. I think though we should talk about your stuff though. Cause yes, I'm like, we've been dwelling so much on it. I'm like, no, don't be sorry. I don't want people to be like, this is a sad one. We want to,
we're like happy here. We're so happy.
We're so happy. We're so happy to be here on this Sunday morning.
Yes.
Kevin, I want to talk about your builds because they're absolutely incredible. I want you to walk me through your process from start to finish, from concept to adding it to the gallery.
When I build, I usually, I'll see something, I'll see it in Pinterest, I'll see it in real life. And then I'm like, okay, that's cool. Let's do that in The Sims. And, it could be anything from like, I'm looking for like a little vacation and, I see this A-frame, cabin that I want to go to and visit. And I'm like, oh, let's build that in The Sims, let's do that. Or, it's just stuff like that, taking real life and building it and then putting it on the gallery is what I do. And then when I started Sims 4, I was like so into shell challenges, I found all these people who were doing shell challenges and I was like, this is so cool. Like I am a very visual learner kind of person. And so I was like, okay, how do I take this like odd shaped building and like make it look into something? So if you were to like look on my gallery, like all of my earlier builds are all like just shell challenges, but I don't think they look like it. That's the thing. They actually look like real builds at the end of the day. So.
No, and that's awesome. What tip and trick can you give to anybody who's just out there starting to build?
Take your time. Don't do speed builds. Don't try. But like, you have to think outside of the box, like, sure, you might, don't be scared by tool. I didn't use tool until like last fall. Like all my earlier builds were like tool free. It was all alt placing, raising. You need to know like all these little tricks to make the builds look realistic. And then to also take objects and, make it look different, and that was one of the things with, which I know that we'll probably talk about later, but the builder games right now that I'm in is just like, there is no tool. There is no red shelf being allowed to be used in it. And it's like taking me back to this like whole thought process of like how I used to build. And I'll be, trucking along and I'll be like, oh, wait, I should do this. Oh, I can't rotate that. I can't flip it, So it's like kind of bringing me back to like a more grounded building experience. And all I can say is learn those little tricks to manipulate objects a little bit. So
I think that's definitely really good. Kevin, I'm going to tell you something. I've never used tool in my life and I have no intention to. Yeah. For builders out there, I totally get it. Believe me. I want to say week, because this has been like, not that I've been dragging my heels. This is one of the hardest builds I've ever done. So, so when I started this, I was like, I'm a builder.
Yeah.
So I collabed with Luna Wendy for her Disney Legacy Challenge, and I've done all of her builds so far. So she put it down for a little bit. I interviewed her last year, and then she picked it right back up. She's like, you inspired me. I want to pick this back up. I was like,
that's
perfect.
Great.
I know. When someone says they inspire you, I'm getting a little bit more frequently now. Like, I started this because of you. And I'm like, oh my God. The best one was a couple weeks ago. Someone's like, I am dyslexic, just like you. And I decided to think, okay, we're going to have an after chat about this, because my fiance said to me last night, he was so proud of me. We were playing a game and I had to read out what I had to say. And he knows I get a little nervous. I don't get nervous for anything, because like I'm basically a walking clown that makes fart jokes these days.
Yeah.
But I had to sit and read in front of people I don't really know.
Yeah.
And I only stumbled twice.
That's great.
I read the paper every day.
Yeah.
Because it's like the last time I was measured, I was at a grade 6 reading level, and the paper in Canada doesn't go past grade 6. So I'm able to read the paper comfortably. And then I'm able to understand some different phrases and words. And I'm more confident now in pointing out, saying, what does this say? How do you read this?
Yeah.
I mean, are you comfortable talking about it, or is this?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So some people are like, no.
I talk about it on stream all the time. And like, that's my big thing, is that because I'm playing The Sims and then I'm also trying to read chat at the same time. And I was diagnosed with dyslexia back when I was in 5th grade, actually, I think is when it was. And I had a teacher who we were doing spelling tests at that time. Right. And I'm a Midwest born and raised boy here, right? All right. And so my teacher was like, oh, you have to know phonetics. You have to learn phonics and all this kind of stuff, right? So she's telling me the words on the spelling test, and I'm trying to process it phonetically as I'm writing it out, right? But she has this Southern drawl, right? And so she was spelling, let's just Washington, like there's no R in Washington,
But just how she said it.
It's how she said it. And so I'm trying to write it out phonetically and stuff like that. And then it got to the point where she was like, you know what, just go and memorize the words and then come back into the classroom. Right. And so it became this whole process of like, I have to learn how to memorize how to spell things. Right. So then I get tested. I'm going into 6th grade and I'm at a 3rd grade reading level, right? I have 2 tutors, thank God for my parents, but I had a tutor that I was in school with. And then I had a tutor that I would come home to after school to teach me phonics. And then throughout that process of middle school, not only am I trying to learn how to catch up in English, but then they throw a foreign language at you too, that you have to start too. God forbid I have to try and learn how to speak Spanish and English, at an appropriate rate. So it wasn't until 8th grade that I caught up and stuff like that. But the way that I process sentences is like a jump ahead kind of thing. So I'll be reading the sentence, but I'm like ahead and back. So it's hard for people to understand that visual cue, because they're like, oh, don't you just flip words inside out and stuff like that? And it's like, it's not necessarily the word that's being flipped inside out. It's the sentence. So I'm now reading sentences ahead and back. And I wish there was a better way of explaining that at the end of the day. But when I'm in stream and reading chat, I'm always like, guys, so I have to like slow it down a little bit because, I'm not following what's going on and stuff like that. But I do feel like that whole process has actually made it easier for me to keep up. So
Kevin, well, I want to say thank you for sharing that. It brings light that like, so for me, I was grade 3 when they knew something was wrong. So my grade 1 teacher made me stand up in the middle of a class and read some Dr. Seuss book, and I couldn't read it. And she said to me, and she got down to my eye level and said, "You will never succeed in life. Yeah. You cannot read." Yeah. And they wanted to hold me back because at this time they didn't really know what this. They just thought like I had a dunce hat. on.
Yeah.
My teacher would give me a dunce hat. Like
they treat it as like a learning disability, which it is, right? And then it becomes this like neurodivergent thing where, you know, you start getting slated into a specific category, which is true, but you know, it's just you're processing things differently. I'm a very visual person, you know, and I'm sure you are too because of this too, you know, and so you're trying to reteach these, you know, phonetics and reading, and the more you can have like a graphic novel or you know, something like that, or a comic, like that's going to help put the picture to the words for you at a young age, you know. So
like still to this day, I can't read a paragraph and tell you what I've read. Like it just doesn't comprehend. Like, and I read every third word still to this day. Every email I read every third word. That's why my boss now will put every important message in every third word. He knows I will skip it. Yeah. Like last night, somebody passed me their phone to get me to read something, and I read every fourth word and I passed it back. And they're like, "You read it that quick?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, I did." Yeah. Like, because I just read it. Okay, I gotta ask you this, because what word still trips you up to this day?
I had a hard time with jewelry for like the longest time.
That word is just hard.
That's a fucking word. And then restaurant. I cannot spell restaurant for the life of me.
I don't think I could either without help.
Even if I try and type it out, because I'm always like restaurant, you know, no. And I spell check everything. Thank God for spell check. That's all I can say. Yeah.
I still syllable it. Restaurant. Like I will do that when I'm
but that still doesn't work for that word.
No, it does not. Or like, so say like, I'm sure you get this with Sims names, that like a lot of them are very different names, and your brain, like how we taught each other how to like read are different than how like maybe other people will say their names. So like I will say something like, for example, Luna Wendy, she said her name doesn't look like that when it's written. I literally have to say like Luna, and then I put a moon, and Wendy, and then I put the Wendy's lady. So I could visually remember what I was reading. The hardest part of this, so I started doing a lot of voice acting throughout this because they're paid roles. Stassi, you gotta make some money.
You gotta make some money, girl.
Gotta make some money.
Gotta make that coin.
Exactly. And I would sit there and read these lines, and like it, like I would used to get so frustrated because I'd get halfway through a scene and have to restart everything because I skipped a word or I didn't say the word correctly. And it was just awful. Right. And it's gotten better in the last year. Like my fiance last night, he's like, I'm so proud of you. Like you were able to say all these words. I was like, well, I just took my time to try to read it. And what people don't understand are like, oh, you're dyslexic, you just can't read, right? Like it's just more of the comprehension. Like, yes, I read what I was reading, but I didn't understand what I was reading. I was just reading the words and just trying to handle the social cues of like thinking that I understand what I was reading because everyone else understood it. And I was just like, I have to do this action now. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh yeah. And it's in board games and stuff, and I have to read stuff, and I'll just kind of sit there after, and they're like, you didn't do it. I went, oh shit. What was I supposed to do? They're like, the thing you read. I'm like, oh. Can like, I just move it here though. Right. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, and then they're kind of like, oh, she just doesn't care. Or she's not paying attention. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. It's just, you're trying to. It
takes you longer to process, you know?
Right. Yeah. It just takes you longer to process. Anyways, Sim stuff. Oh my God. How many, I feel like I knew this was going to be like a 2-hour interview. Like I'm
sorry.
No, don't say
I'm going to stop saying I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
No, don't say you're sorry. I'm having a blast on this Sunday morning. Okay. So we were talking about your builds, and we were talking about, bringing them to life and tips and tricks. I gotta ask this. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. CC versus no CC.
I have now gotten into the CC game. Yeah. I love Harry and Felix Andre and oh my God, what is their name? Peacemaker.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And mainly like for their architectural elements that they create. So it's like wall panels and stuff like that, more than anything. I love being able to create builds that people can download too. So like, obviously then I can't have that CC, but if I let them know what's in it, then yeah.
No, I totally get you. I'm an OCC girl. I cannot wait till one day I somehow blow up and they pull out the little interview bit that I did where I'm like, I will never use CC.
Yeah.
Ever. And I'm like, I use it all the time. And now I remember I was like, what I was saying. So the last couple of days I've been doing this build for Luna Wendy for her build. And I made Tiana's palace.
Oh, really? She's my favorite princess, by the way, just saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to me, it goes Tiana, Mulan, and I guess Merida's not a princess. I'm gonna say Sleeping Beauty, just because like she was my favorite as a kid. Because I was like,
she's classic.
She's classic.
Yeah.
What I also love about that movie is Disney almost went bankrupt because they hired 50 graphic designers, and that is why that movie is so visually stunning. Because it was the first time a Disney movie ever hired graphic designers to do.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
I did not know that.
That was one of the first things you learn in graphic design school. Of like how graphic designers almost ruined Disney as a corporation. I know. They're like, don't fuck up if you go work at Disney.
Right.
But anyways, it had to be under 36K. And I did it. And
you did? Oh my gosh.
Do it. It's on my gallery for anyone who wants to. It's literally Tiana's Palace under 36K is the title. And like, it's literally held up by smoke and mirrors. It's all debugged.
Yeah.
Like all the
shit.
Yeah. I have 4 workable tables and like chairs. And I'm like, it looks pretty decent. It's not.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah.
Because like her stuff, she usually doesn't give me a budget. So like I did like Cinderella's Palace. Like that one I had a lot of fun doing. I'm really excited to do Sleeping Beauty's cottage because again, I'm a really fantasy based girl. This is something that's really up my alley. But I was sitting there with this restaurant for last week being like, this looks like shit. And I actually ended up pulling it together today. And I'm like, I messaged her last night. I was like, I need more money.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm having such a hard time. She's like, well, it doesn't have to be 35. It could be 30K. I'm like, no. It needs to go the other way. Because I was like, shit. Because so it's the first I messaged her. I was like, is this playable? Like, are you playing this? She's like, I want to do 2 episodes of my Let's Play in this. I'm like,
oh, okay. That's different.
Yeah, because you have to have the actual, like, because I set it up as a restaurant because she wants to play Tiana as like the restaurant and the person making the food. I'm like, okay. That means I can't have a fridge and a stove and all the rustic shit that I was planning for because you have to have the chef's ugly thing.
Chef's station.
Yeah, the chef station. I'm like, that fits not this 1920s theme of everything. I was like, I was like, fuck it. It's just going in there. But what actually leads me to this point, this is the first time I've ever done like a challenge where it was like money required. Do you ever find yourself making builds for like, you're like, it doesn't care the price, or are you like, I'm going to keep this in budget?
I have yet to do that, but I would be interested to be doing that. I've never worked with a budget before, but I think that would be a good restriction, especially to think, when I usually upload a build, it's completely furnished and accessorized and everything. And I know once it goes on the gallery, it's at least like 150 simoleons or 150,000 simoleons. So to work with 36 would definitely be a challenge. So,
oh my God. Cause like I'm a paintings girl. I pick like the $10,000 paintings and go bam, 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 bam. Like that's what I love to do. I was like, I can't do that. There's not a lot of wall coverings. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. A lot of wallpaper.
Lots and lots of green wallpaper. Okay, so I know you've just started with CC, but for anybody who does not play with CC, what, in your opinion, is the best expansion, game pack, stuff pack, or kit that has the best bang for your buck if you are a builder?
I love anything from Tiny Living.
Okay.
I love that game pack in general, just because you have those grades of the small houses. So like the micro, the tiny, and then the small house. So I love that pack. And then I'd say Cottage Living is really good just because you get that Smeg looking refrigerator in there, which I love. And I actually I love the Moschino windows, like there's these things that are like so worth it in those packs to me that I love using. And then the Strangerville stuff. I love all build items in Strangerville is good to me. So
I agree. I was doing my second ever collab. I was doing Bates Motel and I was doing with Pam, and she's like, you need Strangerville. And I was like, well, I have Christmas money. So like, whatever. I love spending Christmas money on some stuff because technically it's not my money. It's somebody else's money. Someone else's money they gave to me to spend whatever I see fit. Yep. That's literally what I did for Tiana. It's all because it's like this really like 1920s beautiful
New Orleans kind of feel. Yeah.
That's what I love. I will also say this. I know we've shit on my wedding story, but the build buy items in wedding.
Oh, they're great.
Oh my God, they're beautiful.
They're great.
Minus the chunky stained windows.
Yeah, I have yet to use those. Like churchy kind of windows. kind of thing. Yeah.
But they already did beautiful stained glass windows in Realm of Magic. So I know they have the ability to do them. Why are they just like literally? It just looks like they did them in paint and they just filled the color. That's literally what it looks like. No, but I agree. I definitely agree with those. I will say for fantasy base, if you're like, I know you're not like, you don't really do fantasy based builds, but I would say Get Together has amazing shit. If you're looking for like the like Grimm's brother, that type of stuff, especially like the windows and the doors and the patterns along the side. But I think my guilty pleasure kit or pack I like to go to for stuff is Get Famous, because I really like all the gaudy,
gaudy over the top.
Oh my God. I used like before I wanted to show people my builds, I always use the curtains from that, the white gaudy white and gold ones. I use that shit for everything. Every room had kitchen, those.
I love it.
Right. Speaking of loving it, I got perfect segue to I am loving you and the Simmers Building Challenge. Now, as a judge to a contestant, I want to hear what it's like once you get your challenge, you submit it, and then like, are you like anxiously waiting for us to judge?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It was so like, I remember the submission for the second week, which was the Nooks and Crannies one, right?
Yes.
And this whole time I'm going into this and it's like, my Instagram was just like at the beginning of this year, I've done like a complete rebranding of myself. Like before I was like, oh, Kev, builds or whatever. Like it was never like this like very cohesive like branding. Right. And so 2021, like a goal for me, or no, 2022, the goal for me was to like rebrand and create like a more cohesive person. And so it was like Kev the Builder, and it was obviously a play off of Bob the Builder, which is, this kids show back in the day. And, can he build it? So that's where it started. And I started focusing more on builds. And then I came across this ad for the Builders game and stuff. And I had reached out to Juby and I was like, hey, is this still a thing? Can I be in it? Right. And she's like, yeah, I think there's like a couple people who aren't going to be in it anymore. So we have some like open slots. Are you still interested? I'm like, absolutely. Like, this is totally fun. So that first room challenge was like the introduction. The second room was the Nooks and Crannies. And I was like, well, I need to start playing this game in a way that it's not just little screenshots of what I'm building. It's actually like now putting these builds in like a presentation form to like focus on things and elements that I want you, the judges, to see, because, a picture is 1,000 words here. And, if it's not, you guys weren't downloading them at that time, I don't think. So it was just based on pictures. Right. And so I had done for that one, like a master bathroom. And it was this like really cool, like oval vanity that's like free floating in the space. And I had these like debug sticks sides down to create the curvature of those vanities. And then that gridded shower enclosure. And I was like, this looks so cool. Like, this is like awesome and stuff like that. I was really proud with it. And that was the first week that I had been in the top 3. Right. And then I had done the one after that, which was the loft challenge, right? Which was the Let There Be Light one. And I was like, okay, this is cool. We're creating a story box kind of thing. And I was like, I submitted it and I was confident with it. And then I was like, oh, I didn't do well on that one. Like it was interesting. And I think the biggest challenge here is like, I don't know 100% criteria on like what you guys are judging on, And so it's like, what one judge might really like, the other one might see that as like a problem in the judge. So I don't know if there's like an official rubric in ways of what's being judged here. But the challenges have been so fun. What Juby has created is absolutely amazing. And like to get this group of 33, builders together, and then all of these like Sims judges together. Like, I think this is great for like community building and everything. But the turnaround for like getting the results for that first challenge, it was like checking Discord, checking Instagram, like, did I miss something? So
no, I will say the first week we were all like, when do we start judging? Is it midnight? Like the first week we were like, midnight what time?
Yeah.
Because Juby is PST.
Pacific. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're Eastern. Wait, no, I'm Eastern, you're Central.
I'm Central. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're all scattered around the world. We're like, who's midnight?
Yeah. Nobody knew. Nobody understood the Pacific.
Yeah. So we're sitting there, we're like, oh, I don't know. But I will say, so the judges I can't tell you how we judge, but we do have, it is broken down into a couple categories, ranked from different, do they follow this? Did they not? I will say some of the judges are very intense with their judging.
Good.
I am the Paula Abdul. I was like, this looks pretty.
Yeah.
Because like everybody who is on the judge panel belongs to be there. And then like, who's the saucy girl? Isn't she like the Rose Chronicles storyteller lady? Like, how did she get here? I'm like, because I'm friends with Juby. That's how I got here.
Well, you're a good builder too, though. I mean, your Sailor Moon, like Crystal Castle thing that you did, and then, the Harry Potter collab that you've done, and, you did a cupcake shop with giant cupcakes on the top of it. I mean, like there's creativity in all different realms of this, Like,
I appreciate that you did your research on me. No one ever does. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I have to do like that, like social media stalking a little bit. Like, that's how all of this happens.
I agree. They're like, she's judging my stuff. Let's see. But like, see, like the thing is, I like to be a jack of all trades. I like to do I used to be like classified as a builder. I'm like, I just can't build every day. I get bored. I can't do cats every day. I'd get bored. If I did storytelling, I would get bored. Right. But no, I would definitely say it's fun being a judge. I apologize on behalf of the judges if we scare the shit out of you guys like every week. It's so hard. Honestly, I will say judging is one of the hardest things I've ever done in the Sims community, because all you guys are just amazing.
So builders. Talented here, you know, and it's just getting more and more difficult because we're getting to like, I used my wild card this week. I was like, I need a mental break. She had like released what the challenges were up to this point. I was like, terrain, like that is not my forte. Like so like last week was when a lot of people used their wild card, and it was like only 7 simmers being judged that week. And I was one of them. And I was like, oh crap. So like 3 out of 7 people are going to be going home this week. And I was like, should I be using my wild card this week? Because everybody else is. And I was like, no, Kevin, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You know, it's so anyway, so like the last 2 challenges, I have been in the top 3. And so last week was the Art Nouveau, or not art, the Beaux Arts themed build, which I had so much fun doing that. And the week before that was the color wheel challenge. I really like the color wheel one. I thought everyone did a really good job. Oh yeah, with the color wheel. What has been your favorite challenge so far? The architectural one, like the architectural themed one, where it was like creating, because it's like you have to hit these things, you know, to make it look like that period, you know, and if you don't hit those criterias, it's, you know, it doesn't look good, you know? So, and I think that's the difference also between, you know, say somebody who's just building, you know, a mid-century modern house to somebody who's actually like putting the thought and effort into, you know, historical representation of something, you know, like Does that make sense?
No, it for sure, okay. No, it for sure does. Because I was gonna say I was gonna leave you to Chicago, but I want to wrap up this little segment of it that you're doing an amazing job in the Builders contest, and I hope you make it to the final 3. To be honest with you,
I hope.
Yes, I have
everything's crossed.
I got my toes crossed for you too. Yeah. No, your stuff on there is amazing because I love your branding. That is smart to do when it comes to branding, because that's how you can establish who people are. One final question about this, but then we're going to switch to Chicago. Your Instagram posts are always very well put together. Mm-hmm. What reshades and what edits do you do before you put everything on Instagram? So
I am new to reshade. Didn't start reshade until like the beginning of this competition. So like in February. And the first time I put it on, I was like, this isn't working. It's like super flashy. Something's not working. Like I don't understand like what I need to turn off to make this work. And so finally I talked to a few other streamers who use it, and they were like, oh, it's the dynamic lighting checkbox on like this page under options. Like you have to turn that off. Otherwise it will keep flashing and stuff like that. So I use Dove a ton. And then the one that I've recently found that I absolutely love is called Apollo. And it is like a warmer hue. It doesn't give you the depth of field that Dove does. Like Dove blurs the background because that's what you want to do when you're taking like pictures of storylines and stuff like that. Probably what you use for Rose Chronicles and stuff like that. I don't use the black background blurry guy. I use Vibrant. That was a great face.
I know. I was thinking. I was like, well, to be honest, I don't even know. I haven't updated it because I don't want to update my computer because God forbid it's working. I'm knocking on everything that it's working right now.
Right.
But I used to use Kaleidoscope, and that one's super broken for me now.
It's like grainy. Like when I put it in, like it's very grainy. But Apollo's like very clean. Mm-hmm. There's like a slight haze over top of it, and then it just like warms everything up. And then I usually take those screen captures. And there is a software called Photoscape that you can get for free, but you can also, I think lifetime membership's like $60. So it's not like horrible. But it's got like all these like pre-adjusted filters on it that just allow you to manipulate it a little bit more. And if you wanted to add like, a light glow, or if you wanted to add like, lightings coming into the windows and stuff like that, like there's that capability to do that. So
I love that. I just throw mine in Photoshop.
Yeah. I have Photoshop too, but it's sometimes it's a little too complicated for me.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. I just throw shit in there. I'm like, it's good to go. No, Kev, I love your Instagram. I think and that's something that's great about the community. Like you can ask people for help.
Oh yeah.
Not only will they help you, they will sometimes give you the files. Be like, oh, for sure. Use that. Yeah, that's how I was introduced to reshades. Was my first ever YouTube video with my failed Let's Play. I only ever had 2 episodes because still to this day, Rachel, when she goes to her farm, stands there and does nothing. And I'm like, I can't be bothered. I'm not a Let's Play girl. I'm not a speed girl. I'm not a cast girl. I do interviews. That's what you're here for. You're not here for my speed build. I don't give a shit what I build. I know that. Yeah. But they said to me, they're like, you need to use reshade. Your gameplay is too dark. And I was like, what the fuck's a reshade? And I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then it like would just crash my game all the time. I was like, oh, I'm not using that.
No, yeah.
And then I found the one that works, and I just leave it on all the time. Yeah. I'm like, it's fine. If I need to do anything, it's Photoshop. It's just I'll do it there.
It's funny when you go back to playing without the reshade though. Mm-hmm. It looks horrible.
It truly does. It looks
so different now,
oh my gosh. Good segue. You know what's not horrible? Chicago.
I love Chicago.
I love Chicago so much. Okay, so I got a couple Chicago questions for you, and then I'm going to let you go on your merry way because I gotta go summer spotlight in 40 minutes. This one, I didn't think this one was going to go as long as it did, but no, I'm loving this. Okay, so when it comes to Chicago, I want you to explain to everybody why Chicago style pizza is better than a New York pizza.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm originally from St. Louis. Okay. So 4.5 hours south of Chicago. And I would say their pizza is the absolutely best, but because it's cracker thin, it's basically super thin crust pizza. However, if you're in Chicago and you have to get a pizza, I am hands down pro Lou Malnati's is the brand that I am devoted for, and none of this Giordano's, Gino's East, none of that is going to be the same. Lou Malnati's is the one that you go to, and it's all pan made, and they have a butter crust, so it gets super crispy inside the pan, and so it's a backwards pizza. So it's crust, then they put the cheese, and then they put the toppings, and then they put the sauce on top, which is so bizarre. But I can only eat 1 or 2 slices, and then it fills me up because it is such a dense pizza. But the next day, heat it up in the oven. Oh, so good. So good. But it's you're fork and knifing it though too. That's the other thing. You can't New York style pizza, you can fold and eat like a taco kind of a thing. Chicago pizza, you can't do that. It's fork and knife. So no, it's a little classier, I will say.
Kevin, I don't know if you just know, but we just became best friends because I'm a Lou girl.
Yes.
Through and through.
Yes.
My fiance likes Giordano. So this is how we usually go. So we'll get there. So a Friday to Thursday to a Sunday is usually our time will go. So Thursday night, we'll always go to Giordano's for him.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, how do you let me do this to myself every time? And I'm like, because you want to go here. I'm not going to say, no, it's pizza. Yeah. And then we go to Lou's on the second night.
Yeah.
So I can remind him that Lou's
how much better it is.
Anytime the waitress asks me, do you want to add the butter crust for 60 cents? And I'm like, what devil says no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who says no to that? The first time I ever had Chicago style pizza, I think it was 5 or 6. And I remember my stepmother ordered a salad for the table. And I'm like, where you are, woman? A salad? Who needs a salad when you're having pizza? No, I love Illuminati's. I wish they would deliver to Canada, or I could they just won't. They will not travel to.
They can't ship it.
They can't ship it. They can ship it all over the States, but they can't ship it to Canada. But
if I buy it and then ship it to you, we can do that.
You can buy it and ship it to me. I'll make it. I'm going to go to Chicago probably some point this year because I need to. Oh, we're having a pizza date.
Yeah,
it's already set in stone.
Yes.
Because I like to because this is the best part. So in I go to California a lot as well, and everyone in California is always talks about had to get there by streets. They're like, oh, you got to go to Home Depot. Okay, you take a left on Sunshine, you take a right on Boa Vista, but that's not the good one. You keep going. You take a right on I-95. You just keep going. That is it's so funny because it's so true.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm in Chicago, I always like to stay obviously on the Mile.
Yep.
I've stayed at the Felix Hotel.
That's fun. Hotel Felix. Yeah.
I like Hotel Felix. At least 8 times. We stayed at the Chicago Inn. That one was sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun though. The building had character, but it was sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I've lost my thought of where I was going to go with that. But
directions.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, so we're on Ontario Street and then we got to go to Erie because it's literally HOMES. It's literally, it's the Great Lakes. So we'll sit there. Okay, so we're on Ontario. We got to keep going. And then we got to go to the Disney store. Okay. I need to ask you this. Is the Disney store still there?
No, they just closed it. Yeah. I will say during COVID, Michigan Avenue is Mag Mile, is not as bumping as it used to be because a lot of these stores have pulled out and everything, but they still have a lot of these touristy shops that are going in there and everything. But if you want the really good fun shopping experiences, you want to go over to what they call the Viagra Triangle, which is over in the Gold Coast a little bit. And there's all these good restaurants. And the reason why they call it that is it's a good place for these older guys to find dates for the night kind of a thing.
No, okay. I was listening to everything you said, but the Disney store. Yeah. We used to love that's always our first stop. We would because like we'd stop at Walgreens.
Yeah.
Because you guys sell liquor at a drugstore, which not a thing in Canada. They just started liquor at grocery stores. Like it's only been a thing for about 8 years. Mm-hmm. And in our LCBO, because like if you want to buy alcohol in Ontario, there's only 2 places you can get it: grocery stores that have the liquor license and the LCBO, and that is it. There's nothing. There's no like mom and pop shops. It's that or this. Mm-hmm. So we're like, I'll go to Walgreens and spend $1 and buy the cutest tiny bottle of wine. So I'll buy a couple of those and the rest of my liquor, and I'll drink those between stops for the rest of the day. So we stop at Walgreens and then we go to the Disney store, and I spend so much money there.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. I know. And the front facade of that Disney store was so like, it was like all the carved concrete, like all going around it and everything. And it's just like.
So what's there now then?
It's just empty right now. So
that's the most depressing thing I've ever heard. That's like where childhood dreams go to die.
Yeah, literally. You can go to Dylan's Candy Bar, which is like right next door to it, and go get some candy and hopefully cheer you up a little bit. But yeah,
at least that's still there.
It's not there anymore. But have you ever done the architectural boat tours?
I was going to say that was my next segue.
Sorry.
Yes, I have. I've done it every time I've been there. I've done it no matter what the temp is.
So good.
So when I was so the last time I was in Chicago is when I got engaged. And I thought my fiance was going to propose to me on the cruise. Oh. I thought that because I had the sunset cruise. And
so you did the lakefront sunset one, right?
So lakefront sunset one. And I'm like, he's going to propose to me here. Yeah. And everyone was like taking their time. Like, we gotta go. Like, what are you doing? And everyone's just like, we're playing lists. I'm like, our cruise starts in like fucking 15 minutes. We got to go. And I'm like, and my best friend, I saw him like, put your fucking lipstick on when we're on the goddamn boat. Let's fucking go. And we're just like running, and they're like, let's take a photo. And I have the photo. It's like it's over there. Yeah, but I'll show you after. We're just like, ugh. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking hot. I'm super skinny. I'm in my cute little outfit. I'm like, okay, I think this is the night I'm gonna propose. It didn't happen. I was devastated. I was like, oh no. But I had fun. Mm-hmm. And then we had pizza for dinner. And then the second day I was like, okay, he's just not going to propose on this trip. And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is also like the worst trip I've ever had in my life because my girlfriends were fighting with it. Like, so there was my 3 tight girls. And then I was trying to introduce this new girl into the group, this really tight knit group. And she was trying to make this vacation all about her. Mm. And my best friends who had or my ride or die bitches don't like her. Mm. And they're basically were like, this is Stassi's trip. How dare you try to ruin this? Yeah. So everyone's fighting with one another. I'm at my wit's end. Saturday night before I'm crying my eyes out at a P.F. Chang's bathroom, being like,
that's a picture.
I'm like, everyone's fighting with one another. This is supposed to be my birthday trip. Like, I just can't take this anymore. I'm so stressed. I just want to go home. I'm telling this to my fiance. And also, he's been acting weird this entire trip. Oh. Now knowing he's about to propose to me, but he was acting like, I was like, oh, okay, let's do this. Yes. And he's a Hufflepuff. He's a sweet, gentle baby soul. So he's anxious. So it comes to Sunday. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want. We're going to go shopping. So we're going. And I'm like, you know what? We don't even have to go to the Bean. He's like, we are going to the Bean. I'm like, holy shit. Okay. We're going to the Bean. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So we get there. It's in like it's got to be 110 Fahrenheit. We are so wet, and we had walked from the top of the mile to the Bean. Ugh. And like as shopping stuff, because we had gone shopping because we were heading to State Street next.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, okay, let's just get this photo done. Like I need to go and get myself a lemonade or something. I'm sweating. And he's sitting there and he's sweating. And I'm like, Jesus, man, like, do you need a towel? He's like, I'm fine. So he goes, he's like, and he's doing this. Like I'm like
he's looking for something.
Yeah. I'm like, who are you looking for? He's like, for everybody. They're over there. And he's like, okay. So they come back and he's like, okay, we're going to go take our photo together. Just the two of us. And I'm like, okay. So I go over and he looks at me and he grabs my hands, and every girl knows in that exact moment, holy fuck, I'm getting proposed to.
Yeah.
It like hits you. Because then I don't know how to react, what to say. You think I knew I was going to get proposed. You think I would have had a plan. No, I did not have a plan coming into this. So anyways, here, he gets down on one knee. I say yes. I start start doing that. We have at least hundreds of people watching us at this point.
Yeah, there's yeah.
And they're like cheering. And there's a video, and there's a girl in the background going like this. Oh my God, you're so cute. So I didn't say yes. I just took the ring.
That works too.
That works. Yeah. And after I said I do, or yes. See, I'm like,
when my husband proposed to me, we were downtown Chicago too. We were staying at this really cool eco-friendly hotel called the Dana. And it's like, is it nice? It's super nice. And they have a great spa there and everything. So we had just gotten like a couple's massage, and then we go back, and he had worked with the concierge to have champagne and chocolate covered strawberries delivered to the room while we were away. Right. And we go up there. I was like, what is this? Like, what's going on here? Kind of a thing. And then he's like, well, and it's going through the whole spiel. Like, I want to, you mean so much to me, blah, 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 and everything. And it's like, oh, this is like really happening right now. Like, this is really happening. And so he gets down and he proposes. And I'm like, yes, of course. And then I'm like, did you talk to my parents? Like, I'm like so old school. Like, did you get there? Like, did you talk to my dad? Did you do all this and this and this? And he's like, yes, of course. And then I'm like so excited. And I start calling people. Nobody answered their phone. Nobody answered their phone. And then as I'm trying to call everybody, we walk out the door, and we're going around the block. I'm still trying to call people, and we end up in front of Tiffany's. And I was like, it's just meant to be. Like, this is meant to be. This is where the ring's coming from.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it was very cute. Very cute. We've been married since 2015 now. So
well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Especially throughout COVID. Oh yeah.
It's been a test.
It has. I feel like if you can stick together throughout a pandemic, you can work it out. I would say for me and my fiance, we've actually gotten a lot closer throughout the pandemic, because it came down, it was just me and him.
Yeah.
We live in a city without any really family. And now we're starting to make friends.
Yeah.
So we don't have if we get into a fight, I can't just go stay at my mom's house or go to a friend's. It's our house. And I would say our communication it's the best it's ever been, because we sat down and we stopped assuming that the other person knew what the other person wanted, but had that communication. So there was no assumptions, and everyone just knows.
Yeah.
And I will say this, and then we'll go back to architecture. No one teaches you how to have proper communication with a partner, right? It's something that you learn with time. And sometimes some people don't even learn it.
Yep.
Right.
It's seriously the base of everything.
Yep.
So.
Exactly. And if you have your partner, and no matter how far you think deep you're down, as long as you guys have each other, you can always lift each other back up.
Yep.
Right.
That's beautiful.
I know, right? Look at me get sappy on here. Buildings. Okay, I have to ask you this, because I've done the architecture cruise. Back to the architecture cruise. So I've done that so many times. I've done all of them. What is your favorite building style in Chicago? Because that's literally where architectures go as their dream, and have these amazing buildings. There
is such a diverse, there's so much architecture in Chicago, which is what's so beautiful about it. You have stuff that is from, right after Art Deco, with the, the John Hancock, that's out there, which is this huge, I just finished my second condo in that building, and I'm terrified of heights. Right. And so this project, the first one was on the 64th floor, which, was fine. But this one that I just finished was on the 83rd floor. Right. And you have to you have to take an elevator from ground up to the 40th floor, which is the entrance to the residences.
Yeah.
And then you have to take another elevator from that floor up to the 83rd. And so like the whole process of just like getting up that high takes like 15, 20 minutes. It's just like outrageous. But, that is such a distinct point in architecture, because that building was actually built with the structure on the outside of it. So that's why you see a lot of these X's on the outside of the building. And then it has a pendulum in the middle of it to help with the sway and the wind and everything. We have a Frank Gehry structure for our amphitheater in Millennium Park there by the Bean, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And such an iconic architect who, the way that he creates his buildings is based on sculpting. So he would take aluminum foil and he would just kind of like form shapes out of it. And so that's like the Disney Opera House in LA. He's done a ton of things over in Germany and, in Europe. And so it's awesome to have that. And then there is a bunch of female architects in Chicago that are making a hit. And one of them is the Aquas building, which is, it's right on the river, and it has the Radisson blue in the bottom of it. And it has this really cool, like all the balconies are like this curved like wave as you look through it. And it's just so iconic. So you have something that's like historically built, something that's abstract, and then something that's like very contemporary, all in the same city, which is what's so amazing about it.
Right. There's nothing to be said when you walk down and you just like, you see all these buildings. Now I have the most basic bitch answer to my favorite architectural style, which is the corncob buildings. To me, no
Marina Towers.
Wherever I am, I know exactly, if I see, I'm like, oh, it's Chicago. Like,
I know where it is.
I know exactly where it is. Everything's beautiful there. My second favorite, I have a soft spot. Like originally I wanted to be a veterinarian, then a lawyer, but I wanted to be an artist. And I love art. So obviously anytime I'm in Chicago, I have to go to the Art Institute.
Oh, for
that
sure.
Building is incredible.
Yeah. And the contemporary wing that they just put onto it is stunning. Yeah.
Right. It's I love that building. I also like the building. I can't remember the name, but it's flipped upside down.
Flipped upside down.
Yeah. So like the smaller part, it goes up like this.
Interesting.
So they specifically built it so the bigger part's above, and it
because they were probably buying airspace above the other buildings like next to it or something.
Yeah, but that was the whole point. Is like, let's have these bigger buildings. Let's do that. So that one, I can't remember where it is, but it's on the lake. Yeah. Because the guy I was sitting talking to, like he specifically did it for the building next to him, basically like, fuck you. Yeah. I'm gonna build a bigger one. Now I got one final question when it comes to Chicago.
Yep.
Because I geek out anytime I see Toronto. Do you ever watch anything and you geek out and you're like, holy shit, that's Chicago. I know exactly where any Michael Bay film, obviously, because they're all filmed in Chicago. Yeah. But you're just like, does it ever just like take you back for a second? Like, I was like, oh, like I know exactly where this is. Like I walk past here every day when you're like watching a film. Yeah.
I mean, where we live, we're like north of the city by like 25 minutes, right? And John Hughes used all of these areas, all these neighborhoods up here for his movies, right? So I drive past the Home Alone house all the time. I drive past Uncle Buck's house all the time. 16 Candles I drive by all the time. Ferris Bueller's Friend, I can't think of what his name is right now, but his house is in my neighborhood, which is what's so neat. And it's actually they used it for the garage for where the Ferrari like fell out the back of it. It's a tiny, tiny house. Like it's not like they make it seem like it's like this super contemporary big mansion and stuff like that. No, it's literally, that is the house. It's just that little glass jewel box. So,
but that's the trick of magic. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Exactly.
Because like, so I live in Kitchener. It's a very small town, but I'm like, I'm from London, and like, they don't film anything in London. Like, I feel like they would film like a PSA for drug use, like not to do meth. That's what they're filming in London. Yeah. But like, I'm very close to Toronto. Like literally the joke in Canada is Toronto's the center of the universe. It absolutely is. Like, if Toronto was to fall, Ontario would fall. Yeah. Like that's literally how we make our money is in that city. But anytime I see anything like, oh my God, it's like Toronto and stuff, like I was really excited to see Turning Red, the latest Disney movie, because it's filmed in Toronto. It's a Pixar movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a Pixar, they drew the CN Tower. What I actually liked about it the most, it talked about an immigrant family coming and having a better life in Toronto and Chinatown. Yeah. And it didn't clue into me until I was talking to the Disney team about that. That's something that I don't think about, but it's very true that a lot of people do migrate to Canada.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my God. Yeah. And to the US as well. And it was just so cool to see like such diversity. Mm-hmm. But I think the moment that got me is they made Tim Hortons Timbits in the movie. Now that's such a Canadian thing, but it wasn't like on the nose, like making fun of us. Like it was just like, that is a thing. Yeah. Like you've just finished practice or school, you go get Timbits. Like that's the shit.
Tim Hortons. So I think they have Tim Hortons in like Michigan, area, but there was a hot second. There was a Tim Hortons that was in my hometown, St. Louis, back in the day. And like, I remember going to it once. And then like the next time I went there, it was like gone. Like, I don't know, like it was like, I think Starbucks like just like pushed them out. And unfortunately, like, I wish that wasn't the case because Starbucks is not the end all be all. So.
No, it's a very expensive coffee place. I mean, who can afford it? An $8 latte?
Yeah, right.
So I would say here, Tim Hortons is number one for coffee. Mm-hmm. Like I'm talking like a drip. Yeah. Starbucks is latte. McDonald's is kind of just everything in between. And then your mom and pop shops pick up the bougie lawyers that can afford to have those expensive.
And the hipsters too.
And the hipsters, yeah. But yeah, Tim Hortons is like the place you go. Like it's literally like, because it's like, that's our donut shop. Like we don't have like a Dunkin' Donuts or anything like that. Like that's where you go and get your $1 donuts is Tim Hortons. But yeah, it was so cool to see that. It was just nice to see that like we weren't like, like in igloos and like we didn't have parkas. I had an American ask me where my parka was. I'm not fucking an Avatar. Yeah. I'm not part of the Water Nation.
No, but I mean, it does get cold there too. Like, I'm sure you have similar weather to what I have, right?
Yeah, we're on this. Yeah, if you're getting snow, we're getting snow.
You're getting snow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's mostly people from the South that think that Nebraska is as north as it gets. Doesn't get any north than that.
Nothing's more north than that.
Right? Because like I joke that so like there's parts. So like I am pretty south in Ontario because Ontario is massive.
Oh yeah.
So like there are places that you can't even get to in this province because it's just trees.
Yeah, just wilderness.
Yeah, exactly. That's where the bears live. Mm-hmm. It's scary to think that there are some parts of this province that you can't even get to because it's bears. Yeah. But there's a part where I like to call, which is beyond the wall, because it's so north that it's like there's still snow there like right now. Yeah. And everyone thinks like, oh, Canada's beyond the wall.
Like Jon Snow in like Game of Thrones. Yeah.
100%. But my girlfriend lives. I'm like, it's cold up there. It's cold. You're beyond the wall. They're like, Stoss, this is nothing. You can like you've been norther than this. I'm like, I'm not saying that there are also, this is the starting point of Beyond the Wall. This is where the guy was with all his wives and his children and stuff. That's where you are. I'm not talking, you got to keep going. There's more north. Mm-hmm. But anyways, Kevin, I want to say it's been an absolute pleasure sitting and talking. I feel like we've become fast friends.
Totally.
Oh my gosh. Why don't you tell everybody where you can find your work?
You can find me on the gallery from name Kev the Builder. Instagram is Kev the Builder, just no E, and Instagram Kev the Builder. So,
and please go follow Kevin. He's absolutely amazing. If it's not as well, please. I mean, this is not airing till June. I'm assuming the building challenge will be done by then. But please go check out the building challenge as well. I think she is planning a second season. I'm pretty sure she's doing that.
I'd have fun being a judge if she wanted it, Yeah. Like that could be fun.
Come join the judges panel. It's a lot of it's fun, but also like terrifying at the same time. We just have two different eras of terrifying. So I don't want to judge somebody to be like, I hate you now because you judged me low. I'm like, no, it just you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the tiniest violin. But anyways, Kevin, it has been an absolute pleasure. Please go follow Kevin the Builder on all the platforms that I have below. He is an amazing part of the Sims community, and I'm very excited to see what the rest of the year holds for you.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Again, thank you so much for coming here today and listening to me ramble for almost 2 hours.
Totally. It didn't even feel like 2 hours.
Right? And that's what I love about these things. We're just two Sims lovers talking about a game that we love to hate.
Yep.
Anyways, Kevin, it's been a great pleasure getting to know you today, and have a great rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.